Shadows whisper when the lights go dim. Cold breath crawling on my skin. Voices echo from the other side. Is it real or just my mind? Things paranormal talks in the dark. Secrets buried leave a burning mark. We interview the dead, we debate the unknown. Chasing shadows where the seeds are sown. Fingers tapping on a Ouija board. Broken silence like a shattered chord. Eerie hums in the dead of night. Is it true?
Here we are.
Here we are. Here we are.
I totally
Again.
forgot to have the buttons too.
Well, last time we had trouble with that already because we forgot
Yes.
we both had the buttons, and I started clicking out. You clicked me back in again. It was
Yeah,
funny.
I love throwing you out. I do love it.
It is fun.
Yeah.
Well, good evening, everybody. Before we start, I'm instructed to read a little introduction about the person we are going to interview, who's in our show. Should I say his name during the introduction, or do you want
Um,
to introduce him in the end?
no, I'm going to shout out. We have Jeff Belanger.
Yes,
And
we do.
I'm so excited. I really am. I really am. No
So am I.
pressure. No pressure at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. So I'm going to introduce read a little of an introduction about Jeff, and then we bring him in the show.
Yeah.
This week we will be talking to what we said, Mr. Jeff Belanger. Jeff Belanger is one of the most visible and prolific researchers of legends today. It's not my native tongue, so if I make mistakes, my bad. Natural storyteller, he's the award-winning Emmy-nominated host, writer, and producer of the New England Legends series on PBS and Amazon Prime, and the author of a dozen books. No pressure at all. No.
No.
Published in 6 languages. Oh my God. He also hosts the award-winning New England Legends weekly podcast, which is garnered over 5 million downloads. You said something about hard words. This is a hard word. Since its launch, and the ranks in the top 0.5% of all podcasts as far as popularity according to the listen notes. Always one of the chasing adventures. Jeff has climbed the Kilimanjaro in Africa. He's explored the ruins of Machu Picchu in Peru. He's searched the catacombs in Paris. I'm jealous now. Where he encounters his first ghost. He faced his lifelong struggle with basophobia. He has to explain me that because I have no idea what it is. On his birthday by going skydiving, and he's been ghost hunting all over the world, from former TB asylums in Kentucky to medieval castles in Europe to an abandoned prison in Australia. Jeff got his start as a journalist in 1997, where he learned how to connect with people from all walks of life. For his work, he interviewed thousands of people about their encounters with the profound. His books include the bestsellers Fright Before Christmas, The Call of Kilimanjaro, The World's Most Haunted Places, Weird Massachusetts, Our Haunted Lives, and Who's Haunting the White House. He is a note speaker and media personality. He has featured in the 100th episode of Stories from the Stage on PBS. He's given a TEDx talk in New York City, and he spoke in Mensa's national conference. Belanger has written newspapers like the Boston Globe and the USA Today, and has served as a writer and researcher on numerous television series, including every single episode of Ghost Adventures, Paranormal Challenge, and Aftershocks on the Travel Channel, and Amish Hunting on Destination America. He's been a guest on hundreds of radio and television networks and programs, including the History Channel, the Travel Channel, Biography Channel, Reels, PBS, NECN, Living TV in UK, Sunrise 7 Australia, Bell in Canada, The Unexplained with William Shatner, The Maury Show, CBS News Early Show, CBS Sunday Morning, Fox, NBC, ABC, and CBS affiliates, National Public Radio, the BBC, Darkness Radio, Australian Radio Network, and Coast to Coast AM. Whoa, that was a big list. But like we said,
Yes.
we have Jeff Belanger. I hope it didn't bore you with my native tongue.
No, thank you. Boy, we could tighten that up. I guess
That's
That's
what
it.
he writes books. He does a podcast. He looks for weird stuff.
yes,
Oh,
it does.
That you could cover it like that as well. Yes,
Yeah.
just a lot shorter.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
I didn't mind reading it because that's no pressure. No.
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 Well, I have to be honest. We started redoing the podcast, launched it a year ago, and we had a bucket list. And I was talking about a few people, and you were on it until you said yes. And I read your bio. I told Shane, "Oh my God, what have I done?"
Well, no, thanks. I love talking about this stuff. I mean, that's and I appreciate that you're in the Netherlands, because I feel like there's certain similarities to the way the paranormal is all over the world, but there's subtle differences country to country that's I think is really fascinating. And our culture, everything, the way we were raised, all the historical influences all sort of shape how we view this topic. And what makes it similar and different to me is just the most interesting.
It is.
Yes.
And now a little birdie told us, if you want the conversation going, you have to remind him of Ghost Village.
Oh,
So-
God, yeah. So my when I started in all this, I started writing for newspapers and magazines. Where I grew up in a little town called Sandy Hook, Connecticut, which you may have heard of for a very sad reason. But the town next to that is Monroe, Connecticut, which is where Ed and Lorraine Warren lived. So The Conjuring, I knew them since I was about 13 years old, and I would go see them in the fall, and I've been to their home and their museum, and they were just, local weirdos back then. They were not anywhere near as famous as they are today. And I thought, wow, that's really interesting that these people make a living looking for ghosts and exploring haunts. And so when I started writing for newspapers in the mid 1990s, I interviewed Ed and Lorraine. I had some paranormal articles that we did around October. And then the newspaper went out of business, as so many of them have since. And I wanted to learn how to build websites. So in 1999, I started ghostvillage.com with those articles, to learn how to build websites. And that's really where my paranormal career started to take off, because I put up those articles, and then, this is back in the wild days of internet where and you could come from nothing. And so I said, tell me about your ghost experiences. And people started writing in, and I would just publish them. That just people would share their stories. And I think they found community. They found like, I had this weird thing happen, and they would Google it, and then they would find, although maybe they Yahoo'd it then back then. I don't even know what was popular. MSN, no clue. And they would find us, and then they would share their story, and hundreds of them became thousands, and we had message boards, and then I started writing books, and then started working for Ghost Adventures. And so really it all sort of stemmed from me just asking the question, tell me about your ghost experiences. And here we are today.
Wow. Now, I read you had your first ghost encounter. It's not that far from here, 5 hours.
No.
Drive. And
Yeah.
we are both very jealous, because it's
Oh, yeah.
really the first time I heard about it. And a ghost encounter over there in Paris at the catacombs. So, can you tell me more about it?
Sure. So I started writing about ghosts in newspapers in 1997. And then the website was 1999. Up until this point, I had not had a ghost experience. I did not disbelieve because I talked to a lot of people about their experiences, and I thought, well, I believe that you believe. I wouldn't call you a liar. You were there, I was not. If you say you saw something, okay, I will take you at your word, most of the time. It was 2003, and I was over in Paris, and I was there in a whole other work capacity, and I had a day to myself. And while some of my colleagues were going to the Louvre and the Musée d'Orsay, I said, yeah, I'll catch up with you later. I'm going underground. And so Paris is a beautiful city. It's a sprawling city. So they didn't go up, they went out, and when you build a city, you put your cemeteries on the outskirts of town, which Paris did as well, but centuries ago. And then as time spread and the city continued to grow outward, those cemeteries were encircled, and then they were tunneling under the city to get to all that limestone. They had just hundreds of kilometers of tunnels. And so by the mid 1700s to early 1800s, they had two big problems. The city was getting heavier, and the ground underneath is hollow. So some buildings were starting to collapse, and the cemeteries, there was no more room to bury the dead. The corpses were piling up. The smell was awful. People were getting sick, and they had to remove all those bones and put them underground and shore up some of those tunnels. And disturbing a place of the dead is pretty much a universal taboo. The world over, you're not supposed to do it. You're not supposed to mess with where people are buried, but living always take precedence. So anyway, I go to Paris, and I knew what was supposed to be down there, and I knew where to go, but I didn't know what to expect, and I was alone. So I started in the museum, the Musée de Caton, I believe is the pronunciation, and I go down below, and it gets very quiet. You're like 30 meters below the city, and I could just hear the drip of water coming through the limestone and the crunch of gravel under my feet. And I see some French graffiti from World War II, the French underground, and I'm moving through tunnels. I had to duck in certain places, and then I came to a doorway that said, "Arrête, c'est ici l'empire de la mort," which means, stop. This is the empire of the dead. Pardon, my français is merde, as they say locally. But un petit peu, pardon, right? Petit peu. So I go through, and I was just greeted by millions of human skeletons, all around in this very macabre, very intricate pattern. And it takes your breath away at first. And as I start to walk through the tunnels, I got to this one long straightaway, and I was walking, and I stopped because a dark shadow the size of a man stepped out from one side and went to the other and then back again. And I froze, and I just went, okay, wait, I was alone down here. And then I thought maybe there's a little side tunnel up there, and I missed somebody, and there's someone else down here with me, but there was no side tunnel. It was just straight all the way to the end. And in that moment, it started to sink in. I said, oh, it's 11 in the morning. I'm of sound mind and body. I'm not drunk. I've had no alcohol, no drugs, nothing. And I went, if that's not a ghost, I don't have another word for what it is that I saw. And when you introduced me, you said, my name is Jeff Belanger, which is how I pronounce it here in the United States. However, it's a French name. And when in France or Canada, I pronounce it like the locals, which is Belanger. And so I was thinking about this. I'm like, my DNA is down here somewhere, right? If you trace it back, right, there's got to be some strands somewhere in these bones. I don't know if that was the connection, but I do know that in that moment, not only did I see what I believe to be a ghost or a spirit, the hundreds of people I had interviewed to that point, their experiences became a lot more real too. Because I went, oh, I'm not psychic. I'm not sensitive. I'm not a medium. I was just here, and this happened. And that was also the way out, was to keep going straight. So I kept walking, and I get back to the surface, and it took days, weeks to sink in that I said, wow, I think I've seen a ghost. And I went back a few years later. I went back to the same exact spot, and I just said, okay, I'm back. Come on out, right? Here I am. But nothing. That was it.
No.
The analogy I've used is that we know lightning strikes the earth 1,000 times a day, right? All over the planet. Not usually right near where we're standing.
No.
That doesn't usually happen. If you ever are somewhere and lightning strikes right near where you're standing, you will never forget it the rest of your life. And I think that's what happened. Lightning struck. I saw a ghost, and I will never forget it.
Wow.
Yeah, I can understand why.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I can. I, the fact that you had the balls to walk through, and I was like, I would have been like, oh hell no, book back, bye. I'm not
This is
scared,
what
but
we
I'm walking
do.
further. No, no.
No, but come on, this is what we do, right? Like this is I don't know, like you do it long enough and I get excited for places like this. You know, I want to be there. I most of the time, I've been doing this over 25 years now. Most of the time, I don't see anything. That's my
Nope.
expectation. If I go to a battlefield, a castle, a dungeon, you name it, I don't expect to see anything because usually I do not. But once in a great while, something happens. And when it does, my first instinct is, how can I explain this away? You know, a curtain flutters and you say, there's a window open. The breeze blew it or someone walked by. That explains it. Not paranormal. Moving on, right? That's the first thing I want to do. When I can't explain it, then I really get excited. You know, I was like, ooh, nope, no window open, no breeze, no one walked by. All right, let's pay attention.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, this is why we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to say, when you had the first experience with a ghost, you were busy with the interviews, if I'm correct.
No, I was
Already?
down there alone. I just wanted to see this place, and
No, before that. I meant as
yeah.
in
I by
life-wise.
that point, yeah. So between like the 1997 and the year 2003, I have no doubt had interviewed at least a few hundred people about their ghost experiences. Usually just to chronicle them, put them on the website or whatever. I didn't start writing books until the next year. So, but yeah, now it's been thousands of people, literally thousands.
Yeah, because if I would have seen that and I just interviewed people, never had a ghost hunt in my life, I would probably be like, well, hell no, goodbye. And now I would like, who are you? Can
Yeah.
we talk?
Yeah.
Want to talk?
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, because all right, so I was raised Roman Catholic, which I don't know why I feel like I should disclose that. Anyway, uh, um, you can't get rid of that. You know, even if you stop going to church, you just can't unload it. But Catholics, we have this belief in God and the devil, and angels and demons, and saints and sinners, and purgatory. What even is purgatory, right? So you've got a whole wide spectrum, and it seems to me that ghosts would fall in that spectrum somewhere. If you need it to fit in theologically, you could put it in there somewhere. Purgatory, maybe, I don't know. Take your pick. So, and my parents were not opposed. You know, they weren't saying, "Oh no, we don't talk about that." Where I grew up is an older part. It's the oldest part of the United States, which is nothing compared to the Netherlands and Europe, of course. But
Yeah.
but there is some sensibility here, matter of fact. You know, if you say a house is haunted, it doesn't have to be a very big deal. It doesn't have to be an argument or, oh, we don't talk about that. It's just like, oh, okay, that house is haunted. That one isn't. Moving on. Which I like, if you go to England, you know, I've spent some time in England, and, you know, I remember I interviewed someone at Ordsall Hall, which is this 700-year-old house in the northern part of the country. And I asked the docent, I said, oh, is it haunted? And he's like, don't be daft. It's a 700-year-old manor house. Of course it's haunted, you know? And I went, yes, forgive me. I'm a stupid American. So, yes, it's haunted. Go on, tell me. And he's like, oh, this happened, that happened. What, right? And I loved it. I love how it doesn't have to be a thing. And I think we take a little bit of our sensibilities from Europe on that.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah, I do have to say, in England, they are very easy to talk with about the huntings.
Yeah.
I do have to say, in the Netherlands, they're still, I don't know why, but they don't talk about it.
Still working on it.
Yeah.
I think they're scared.
You know what? You should start a podcast where you talk about it and help normalize the discussion of strange things.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, you
Maybe
did that. So it has begun. It has begun. You're doing the good work.
Oh, yes.
We are trying our
We're
best.
trying, yeah.
Yeah, still there are people who think we are mentally ill, but you can talk more about it. At my job, they knew it, and I went on the road with an exorcist. So I had to tell my boss that I have to go off for the weekend to go out with an exorcist to a house cleansing. and he was looking like me. Whoa.
Yeah. What'd you do this weekend?
Yeah, I'm
Golf?
going with an exorcist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd rather go out with The Exorcist than go golfing any day of the week. Like, no
Yes.
question. That sounds more interesting to me.
Oh, yes.
What's your day job, Mary? What do you do?
I do some administration, and I make sure everyone who's sick got mental health.
Oh, okay.
They have someone to talk to, go to the doctors, and I'm overseeing it all and how
Yeah,
many
yeah.
hours they work. So, yeah. And I do swim with disabled.
That's great. And I, what I love about the paranormal, right, is that science doesn't really want to touch it because it'll make them look bad. My sister is a PhD doctorate in psychology, and I've brought her to a couple of investigations at homes where I said, "Look, what do you think? Do you think these people are with it? Are they okay?" And she said, "Yeah, no, I think they're with us. This is not. I don't think this is a delusion. They're interpreting this as a real event. This thing they're experiencing." And I asked my sister, I said, why wouldn't psychology, like, forget if you believe in ghosts or don't believe it. It's irrelevant in some discussions.
Mhm.
If your patients perceive it as real, well, you got to deal with that. That is something you have to deal with as a psychologist. And she said, honestly, if we started talking about ghosts and spirits, psychology just now is starting to get some legitimacy, after 100 years of fighting for it. She's like, and it would set us back, and no one wants to do that. So they're not going to touch it. Academics don't want to touch it because they think it'll make them look foolish. So it's left to the rest of us. And whatever you do, you can bring that to the research. So you're around, people that need help and psychological help and things like that. Whatever it is you do. I mean, there's some famous plumbers here in the US that had their own TV show for years. Sometimes what's knocking in the wall is a hot water pipe, right in the cold. Tick, 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 tick. It's not a ghost,
Yeah.
So whatever you do, you can bring that to this, which I think is wonderful. And then we can discuss it and see what happens.
Exactly. Yeah, agreed.
Ah,
Yeah, I had a psychologist where I went to, and she wanted to go on a ghost hunt with me in the end, which is not allowed because I'm a patient, so it wasn't allowed. So she had to wait a year.
Really? Did she go?
No, never heard her again.
Come on. Too bad.
Hey,
Too bad.
never say never. You never know.
Joanne
You never know.
is making a great remark. There's a study being done on the link between schizophrenia and the paranormal. Yeah.
So sure. I mean, people with schizophrenia, or multiple personality disorder or whatever, there was a time where it was assumed they were possessed. Yeah. And then it got this label. And then once in a while, someone says, well, let's not rule it out. Right. I mean, let's not rule out that there's some influence here that is beyond just some misfire in the brain. Wouldn't that be interesting? Right. At the same time, let me say, yes, bring the psychologist along too. Let's not leave that out of the discussion. But if I were suffering, I haven't dealt with a lot of home cases because they're just so touchy, and I'm not qualified, quite honestly, when people are suffering in their home. However, when I have gotten involved, I said, okay, have you talked to your medical doctor? Have you talked to a psychologist? Have you talked to the utility company about the wiring in your house? And as soon as they go, no, it's a ghost, how dare you? I say, your problem can't be that bad. Because if I had a problem, I would bring in everyone. I'd be like, check the wiring, check the house, check for radiation, check up here, check my medication. Let's rule everything out that we can rule out. And then we'll get on with it. There was one case I remember. This woman said in her bedroom she was petrified to go to sleep at night because she was having these horrible visions. It was so haunted. And so we went in with EMF meters, regular EMF meters, and she had a clock radio right next to her bed, this far away, right? And so The EMF meter is off the chart by this clock radio. It's whatever, it's old, and it's just emitting a lot of energy. And we said, hey, how about you just get rid of this or put it on the other side of the room and try sleeping when it's not right next to your head? The ghost went away. And so that's one of those cases where you're like, it's not paranormal. You're just highly sensitive to electromagnetic energy.
Yeah.
And an EMF meter was able to solve that. How wonderful. And you now know, just don't put your head, especially when you're sleeping, near large energy sources. And and so that was able to solve it. So yay, that's wonderful. But of course that doesn't solve everything. Sometimes there's the cases where everything seems fine and you go, ooh, but there's still something paranormal. And then I really get excited.
Me too.
Yeah, you're like, ooh, couldn't figure it out. Let's keep looking. Yeah.
Yeah. Like standing in the middle of a parking lot and turning around and have a spirit like this close to me. And you blink with your eyes and it's gone. And my head is making overtime. Is it radio frequencies? Is it my phone? What is it? Is it imagination? I couldn't solve it.
Yeah. No, but you never forget it, right? And that's the thing about these experiences. And that's the trouble when you're alone and you have an experience. If there's two of you or three of you and we all see it, well, that even gets more interesting. Like
they can say it's mass hysteria.
Yeah, I don't believe in that. I just don't. I've never had the experience where someone says, look over there, I see, a demon. And I've been in locations where I remember it was Waverly Hills Sanatorium, this old tuberculosis place in Kentucky here in the US, and an amazing haunt. I had a very weird experience there as well. And there was one of the investigators that I was with said, I see a man leaning against the wall way down there by that little light over the exit. And I went, okay, I don't see it. And I said, but you see him. She said, yep, he's leaning. He said, he's leaning against the wall. I said, I'm going to go walk. You tell me to stop when I'm next to it. And so I walked down the hall. He said, stop. And you're right next to him right now. And I said, right here. I didn't see it. I put my hand out. I didn't feel anything. I didn't see anything. And I'm not calling this person a liar at all, but I didn't see or experience what they were in the exact same place and time that it was happening. And so, okay, you got to shrug and say, you're seeing something I'm not. Maybe it was meant for you and not for me. In that same building, there were four of us standing in one hallway, and all four of us saw a person walk out of one of the doors and look at us and then go back in. And we knew we were alone up there. And all four of us ran right to that room. And if it was a living person pulling a joke on us or something like that, the only two places to get out would have been back into the hallway where we were, or jump out the third story window, which we would have heard that, So that's one of those cases where you go, all right, I think four of us all just saw a ghost.
Yeah, you would definitely hear the ouchie boo boo.
Yeah, right. The scream, ow, my leg. Yeah, if you didn't die and become the next ghost.
Yeah.
Well, you never know. Maybe that was the case before.
Yeah. These buildings, there's an expression here, if the walls could talk, right? And I love that expression because I think walls can talk if you know how to listen. And that's what we try to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to mute myself because my dog started walking.
I didn't hear him.
Thank God.
You do also podcast training.
Yes. Yeah. So I live near Boston in New England, and it's the northeast part of the United States. And growing up here, there's so many weird stories, not just ghosts, but UFOs and cryptids and monsters and all kinds of strangeness. And my podcast for the last 7 years, we try to celebrate it, because when I hear that there's a monster in this lake, or this was a UFO landing site, or this building is haunted, the next question I want to ask is why, or how did it come to be that? And to answer it, you have to go back in time. That's any haunt. You have to go back. So you go back and say, well, who lived here? Who died here? What events took place on this land? Who are the people that came before us? There's been people here for about 12,000 years. That's a lot of human history. We only talk about the European history from 1620 onward, but there were people here thousands of years before that. So that's a lot of layers of high strangeness that sort of come together where we are.
What made you so interested in the history of everything?
Well, I love history. I think I once got to interview this Scottish historian, and I will forgive me. I'm going to try my best at the brogue, but he said, "Lad, history's a damn good story. It just needs damn good telling." And I was like, "Oh, it's so good, right?" So it is true, right? We are a product of not just who raised us, but where we live, where we grew up. That all those influences make us the unique people that we are. And when it comes to the weird stuff, when it comes to haunts and monsters and ghosts and aliens and whatever, you have to put those stories into the context of the place. That a haunting in Boston is going to be different than a haunting in Amsterdam. It just is.
True.
It's different. One of the things that so, for example, we're so egocentric. We're so focused on ourselves. We're the stars of our own movie. That there's been international ghost shows, and I've worked on some of them, right? They go to another country and they get EVP in English.
Yeah.
Right? And you go, nobody speaks English where you are. Why would you get an EVP in English? You would expect it in Spanish or German or wherever you are, right? Like if people mostly speak a different language, you would expect the EVP to be in that language. And yet it's not. Stuff like that makes me scratch my head. And you got to say, well, let's put it, either there's a universal translator or maybe it's coming from you, which is still paranormal and very weird. But I want to put it into that context of where it is. And so when you fit these stories in, you really start to understand not just where you live, but you understand a little bit more about yourself too.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, in my honest opinion, I think that when you die, you can speak every language.
Maybe.
That's my belief system, because when I do EVPs in England and I use Dutch, I get Dutch answers from English people.
Yeah, with an English accent, I hope.
Probably, yes, but still Dutch.
Yeah, right.
It's the same in Germany.
Yeah.
We go to Germany for holidays.
Yeah.
When I find an interesting building, I start asking questions. When I want to do it in Dutch, I want to see the answers. It's almost never in German. Almost always in Dutch.
Here's an interesting thing to kick around, because I'm a writer, I'm a word guy, right? So every language has limitations, right? So we only have so many sounds available to us that our mouths can make that form all languages of the earth for all time. And those languages, the best and the worst, all have their limitations. We're trying to express something that can be so profound and so amazing using this very limited thing we have called language. And so how do I describe a sunset to you? I mean, I'll do my best, but but you being there and seeing it is so much better, because then neither of us need words. You're seeing what I'm seeing, and there it is, right? There's this, wow, look at the colors and the beauty and the however you feel inside, those are unique to you. So yeah, I mean, maybe that's what it is. We're all using what limited resources we have, and in this case language, to try to communicate across this veil, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Absolutely. But to jump on it, even when we do EVP sessions, we did get Spanish, French, German, and Dutch here in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
But it can be explained because we were part of Spain for a very, very long time. I think also Italian, because the Romans came over here. We had so many layers with so many languages. So
Right.
everything is possible.
Yeah, of course. No, I love that, and I love that. Someone once sent me an EVP. It was really interesting. They said it was Morse code. You know, the dots, the do 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 do
Yeah,
do, right? And so I got the audio file and I put it into a wave editor, and very clearly you could see the short and the long. Simple. I went to a Google Translator for Morse code and put in, dot dot dash dot 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 dash dash, put the whole thing in, and it translated perfectly to it was something like X9WRJ43, something like that, some letters and number combination. And I said, well, that's really weird. Like they're all definite letters and numbers, but that doesn't make any sense together. And so I Googled that, and it turned out it was a radio beacon call sign near Boston that just puts out that signal that it's its call sign all the time. And they were close enough to the tower that their audio recorder picked that up.
cool.
Wow.
So totally normal, not paranormal.
Yeah,
However, interesting. So all right,
So cool. Yeah.
you picked up a broadcast of something, and because we were so excited, we're like, okay, we could do Morse code, we could figure that out. There's apps for that. You know what I mean? Like you could type in a message. And I did an investigation on this haunted Navy ship near me, the USS Salem. And there's an app. It's free. Like I didn't make it or anything. It's a free Morse code app. If you were in the Navy, I think to this day, if you're in the United States Navy, hi Susan. If you're in the United States Navy, they make you learn Morse code. Everyone has to know it. Every sailor has to know this. So I had an app that could make the flashlight on my phone flash Morse code. And so we rolled audio, and then I would type out messages. Hello, can you give me your name and rank? What was your favorite place to serve? And we would flash it into the ship, this thing. And if they want to reply with knocks in Morse code or whatever, we could translate it later. It didn't work, sorry, but it was an idea, right? It was an idea.
Yeah.
Can we use this form of communication in a place where they absolutely would have known how to translate it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you bring me up. You give me ideas right now.
Yeah. Try it.
I want to try that out.
Yeah, it's a free app.
I've done it with a laser. We filmed it, and we were on this location. I live on war ground in Arnhem, a bridge too far.
Yeah.
That's why I live.
Yeah,
So we were in the forest, and my flashlight began flickering, and we filmed it, and we left, and I put it on, and it didn't flicker. We gone back, and it started to flicker again. So we were convinced it's Morse code, but it just happened once. We tried to debunk it and do it over again. It didn't happen again. We've been there last year, I think, Shane, and nothing happened. Nothing.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that's lightning doesn't strike twice sometimes.
Nope.
Most times. Yeah.
It is. And it's a certain period, Memorial Week. Almost every year I go out and investigate. I'm hooked.
Yeah.
I'm hooked. And
Yeah.
we got German EVPs, and we heard boots walking and dogs barking. It's so addictive, and nothing repeats. And yeah. It's a shame.
Shane got a dog barking just a few minutes ago.
Yeah, but it's not paranormal.
Oh, too bad.
It's tiny and it thinks it's a pit bull. So
Yeah. Did you name your dog like EVP or something? Like,
no, he's called Puppy.
oh, fair enough.
We wanted to make a joke about you being on Ghost Adventures. So I told him, let's go talk in the Ghost Adventures. If you want to know about the historical side and you want to know more who you're going to go, Jeff Belanger.
Yeah. Ghost Adventures. So that started in 2008.
Yeah.
is when we first started working on the show, and it was just supposed to be 8 episodes. That was it. And Zach had called me and said, hey, I had written books by that point and was getting into like the history and the research part of it. And he said, we're looking for a person to help us find locations, do the historical research, find the people that'll come on to share their stories. And I said, yeah, that'd be different. I mean, I've worked on newspapers and the web and books. Like, this would just be a different, different medium. So, okay. And then we worked on the show, and then they came out, and I thought that would have been it. But then the Travel Channel at the time, who was running the show, said, I think we have a hit. Can you guys get back to work? And that was it. 2008 turned into 17 years of
Wow.
which is a long time for any TV show ever.
Yeah.
I mean, to run, like it's been something.
17 years.
I
That's a
know.
long time.
I've met people that said, oh, I used to watch that show when I was a kid. It made me feel so old. I said, oh, I worked on that show when you were a kid. Fair.
Well, the show I watched when I was younger, not even a kid, was Ghost Lab.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
The
one.
Kling Brothers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Oh, you got that over there. That's cool. Yeah, no, I see those guys from time to time. They're still doing their thing. They're in Texas. And yeah, they're still, it's so funny because it's such a small community. We all know each other. We've all run into each other somewhere. And it's such an interesting community. The way that some people go about, some are very esoteric, they want to use dowsing rods and pendulums and psychics and mediums and whatever. And then others are just all about the technology and the gadgets and the gear and, and everything in between. And I love that. I love that you can bring whatever you want to the table.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was watching the comments. It's still quiet.
Sometimes happens.
I think Jenny fell asleep. She had a bunch of questions, but I think she fell asleep. We came to your books.
Sure.
You wrote a new one.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
It just came out. Wicked Strange. Wicked is a term here we say in New England. It simply means very. That's it. It is wicked cold out. It's wicked sunny, wicked nice. You can have it. You can have the word. I adore the word, right? When you're around here, you're just like, hey, are you hungry? I am wicked hungry. Like, let's go eat. So Wicked Strange is a kind of a nod to a local term, but it's also, it's the weird stuff that sticks out. So we don't just cover ghosts and monsters and UFOs, but also some of the various eccentrics who have left a mark over the years. Lot of interesting headstones, cemetery headstones. I have discovered the key to immortality. If you want to know, I'll tell you right now for free. If you want, I mean, if you don't want to know, I won't. You wanna know? Okay, it's this simple. It's so easy. All you have to do is have a very memorable or funny epitaph, the writing on your headstone, and we will talk about you for hundreds of years to come. That's it. Some people are so clever and funny with what they left behind. You just scratch your head and go, come here, you got to see this. Look at what this person wrote, and that's the trick. That's the secret.
I the Ouija board on my grave.
I've seen it
tonight.
I've seen a Ouija board on a grave. The Talking Board Historical Society, who they chronicle all this, the Ouija stuff, and Ouija is such an interesting part of Americana, right? So Ouija goes back to 1892. It was the Kennard Novelty Company in Baltimore. But that's just that's a trade name, I mean, talking boards were all over. It was or spirit boards or witch boards, whatever you want to call them. But Ouija's the brand name. And early on, it was just this fun parlor game, that you would play. And how does it work? I don't know. It doesn't matter, but then the reputation got darker later. right? And that really was around the time the Exorcist movie came out, which was 1973.
Yeah.
And then Lorraine Warren, God rest her soul, that woman would preach from the highest mountain not to touch Ouija boards. I disagree. I don't have to agree with her on everything. I think, look, if you're afraid of it, I get it. Maybe don't touch it. But at the same time, there's nothing magical about cardboard and plastic. And not only that, I don't think there's anything to it. I think you are the psychic. You are the medium. When you use this device, it's like you're the compass. That's the needle. That's just the needle. Yep. But you're the compass. You're the part that matters the most. And I understand once you take it out of the box and you start using it, you start to have this sort of psychic experience that you maybe wouldn't have if you were just shopping for your groceries, you know? So,
Agreed.
Yeah, but there is a headstone in Maryland with a Ouija board on it. It was one of the guys who patented the name Ouija for the Kennard Novelty Company, which is pretty cool. So if you go there, Mary, you can just grab your planchette and move it around.
I have enough at home. I do own 5 of them.
Do you? Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a. So did you see the Ouija movie? It's when that came out, I did an event with a company that produces the Ouija board, and we gave away hundreds of them at this one particular event. And a guy named Bob Murch, who's the head of the Talking Board Historical Society, he and I are there. We were friends, been friends for a long time. And we did this experiment. Try this sometime. It was really interesting. There was a bunch of people there who'd never used one, didn't believe in ghosts, none of that stuff. And they worked for the company that made it. Imagine that. So I said, well, let's try this. And so what we did was we took just paper, just little, cards of paper. And on a bunch of them, we wrote names of U.S. states. There are 50. So we wrote all 50 states. And then on another bunch of cards, we wrote colors, red, green, blue, yellow, various colors. And then on another bunch of cards, we wrote 2-digit numbers, 35, 57, on and on and on. So we would take the card and we had this husband and wife. One of them was a vice president of the company. And we took a card and said, this is a U.S. state. And we put it underneath the board and said, push it. Don't wait for the ghosts or spirits. Just go ahead and push it. You have a 1 in 50 chance of guessing right? There's 50 states. That's a state. Guess. Go for it. And they got it right. And I remember we went, wow. Okay, 1 in 50. That's not like winning the lottery. It's not impossible, but interesting. And then we said, okay, we put another card under and said, this is a color. Again, just push it. Don't worry about it. What do you think? And I remember the color because I wrote it. The color was tan, T-A-N. It's not even a color. It's a shade, right? But they got tan. And at this point, Bob Murch and I are looking at each other going, are they witches? We're in Salem, Massachusetts, and you just guessed a 1 in 50 chance of the state. You guessed the color, and it was tan. And then we said, all right, here's a 2-digit number, and they were off by 1. And at that point, we look at each other and we just said, all right, this is really strange, right? This is really, really, I don't know what's happening here, but you could mathematically start to figure out that these odds are getting pretty remote. Yeah. It's an interesting experiment because I think sometimes these things are a tool to help us focus our ideas and intent. And so, yeah, Lorraine Warren would disagree, but she's not on right now. She's not with us anymore.
Well, sad enough, no.
Yeah.
It is. But she had a beautiful age.
She did. And there's no denying they were pioneers. They were doing this long before a lot of us, and they were sticking out at a time when it was not, they really put themselves out there in the 1960s and 70s and 80s when there weren't, the TV shows and everything else. They were the people that were investigating. And it's really interesting folks for sure.
Absolutely. Definitely. And with the knowledge from back then, we know so much more now.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? There's an expression in art, you stand on the shoulders of giants, and I love that, and we all do. We're standing on the Warrens' shoulders. They're standing on Harry Price's shoulders, and on people that came long before them, and there were people looking into this for a long time. The spiritualist movement, which began in, the mid 1800s and then went worldwide, there were folks saying, all right, if this is real, maybe we can figure it out. And I love that people were trying to apply the best science they could to sort of try to figure out, like, well, how does this work? Why does this work? Can we repeat it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what do you think about all the technology they use in investigations now?
I don't care for it. I've had all of it over the years. I've got the meters and I was one of the early users of the SLS camera, the Xbox camera thing.
Yeah.
And that I did find sort of interesting because I know how it works. I know what it's supposed to do. It's looking for human movement to put you in the game. And so if it's looking in an empty room and it finds a person, you scratch your head and you say, there's no one in there. For the most part, my concern is that I get how rare it is that we're going to see something. Mary, you remember that figure in the parking lot. Like, I remember the figure in the catacombs and in Waverly Hills. Most of the time, nothing happens. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with coming home empty-handed. I'm okay with going fishing and not catching anything. It's still a nice day. The expression over here is, right, a bad day of fishing is better than a good day at work. So, so that's okay. Same with ghost hunting, and so I'm okay with that. But when you go out and you wait for your meter to light up, a lot of things will set off an EMF meter. You get a text message, a key fob on your key. We live on a giant magnet called Earth. There's stuff that happens naturally and normally that will set those off that is not necessarily paranormal. And so I think sometimes we're fooling ourselves. And so the more apps and gear and everything else we get, my concern is that we know we're not likely to see an apparition, but are we fooling ourselves with all this stuff? I'd rather just sit quietly and watch and wait, or walk around and just be in an environment and see what I feel or hear or experience than look at all the gear. But I do appreciate that some people are trying to measure and capture this stuff in other ways.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah, all in the name of science.
Yeah, well, think about science, right? Science has to be repeatable, which means if we do the same thing each time, we should get the same result every time. I have not found that in the paranormal so far. I wish I did. I would tell you, I swear, I'd give it away if I knew, but I have not found something that works every time.
No.
Nope.
We just talked about it last week with Todd Bates.
Oh yeah, God, I've known
He
Todd
had the
for a long
same.
time.
He had the same opinion. He said, "No, science is not going to do anything with the paranormal if it comes to science."
Yeah.
Because it doesn't add up with science.
Yep.
Yeah.
No.
I couldn't agree with you more.
They can't find a theory what fits for the paranormal.
Right. Yeah. But that's okay. It's okay to work in speculation and say, well, something's going on, because lots of people from lots of different walks of life have reported this stuff. And so what's happening? I mean, how do you explain what's happening to yourself? Even, the things you've seen and experienced, like, that's what I want to know. Like, why did that happen to me then and there and not anywhere, the many hundreds of other places I've been? Why did nothing happen there? I'm okay with it. I'm not, and I'm not saying those other places aren't haunted. It just wasn't for me the night I was there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we have a comment from Deborah Pickman.
Oh yeah.
There was a book called Conjuring Philip that was based on the premise everyone's contributing energy can actually create a spirit personality.
So in Tibet, they call that a tulpa, or a thought form.
Yeah.
And so you can think something into reality. We do that all the time, actually. We do that. Think about a job you may have had where there's like a person that you work with, but you've never even been introduced. And you're just like, oh, I think she hates me. Right?
Yeah.
And then she's looking at you like, oh, he hates me. And you haven't even spoken to each other. Of course you don't hate each other. There's nothing to go on. But you've created this sort of energy between you.
Yep.
to me, one of the best examples of how we can think something into reality is paper money. Paper money. Reach into your wallet, pull out some paper money. It's just paper. It's not worth anything, right? It's just a piece of paper. It exists because you believe in it. It exists because the person you're talking to believes in it. Over here, a $20 bill is no bigger or smaller than the $1 bill, but the $20 bill will get you beer and pizza, right?
Yeah.
And the $1 bill won't even get a cup of coffee anymore. So, and the reason of that is faith and belief. We believe that the $20 bill, this piece of paper, is worth a few pieces of pizza and some beer. That's our collective belief. And if that belief fails, it stops working. And that has happened the world over when currencies fail because you don't believe in the government anymore.
Yeah.
Think about Bitcoin. Here, have some Bitcoin, right? If I had one Bitcoin, it's oh my gosh, it's just faith. It's people believing it's worth that is what's making it worth that. And that's it. That's it. And I actually own I don't own one Bitcoin, but I bought a little because I'm just like, all right, I get that this is theoretical, and I get if other currencies fail, this might be the thing we agree on. And so maybe it's not a bad idea, but it's all operating on faith and belief. That is it. There's no gold vault that you can exchange your Bitcoin for gold, right? It's just theoretical.
Yeah.
And so absolutely we can create a spirit. I've seen TV shows do it. So there's a place not too far from me in Rhode Island, an old historic mill that was part of the early industrial revolution here in America. And this one ghost show went in and said, oh, there's a ghost of a little boy. Nobody who'd ever worked there or visited there had ever talked about the ghost of a little boy. But we know children did work on these machines because that was before the days of laws, right? Little kids could work these long shifts. And so, but there was never any report of a ghost of a little boy. After the TV show aired, people kept coming in saying, I saw the little boy. I saw the little boy. Maybe everybody missed it who worked there and everything else. But they saw the ghosts. They reported other spirits and things. But this one was new, and it didn't exist until a TV show said so, and other people went looking for it or something to validate that thing. And so I think that's sort of an example of what Deborah said, which is, I mean, that little boy, you're not going to convince me otherwise that wasn't a tulpa or like a thought form created and now part of the story that wasn't there before.
No.
Interesting.
Yeah, I've heard that story before. Yeah.
So what happens is, like, sometimes psychic mediums, there's we won't say the name, but it was a British show and you know it. And sometimes the psychic would get whatever was given to them in the production meetings before. Yeah. And someone who worked for that show started to mess with the psychic and give them funny names that they would then go on the show and say, oh, I'm getting the spirit. And I know the people involved, and I tip my hat to those people. But suddenly that show airs, and people are now looking for these names that are nothing but a joke, to kind of like call someone out for just, making stuff up. But now that joke name has become part of the story, whether they like it or not.
Yeah, and as soon as people are starting to look for it, they give it energy, and energy turns out into one big thing.
Yeah.
Energy is a weird thing.
Yeah.
Joanne is stating, fascinating. I need to sign off.
We offended her.
So much.
Hi, Joanne.
We must have offended. Sorry, Joanne.
No. She can take it.
All right.
Oh, yes, she can.
Yeah, she knows before. Yes.
Just a year or so.
But
yeah, Mary, you wanted to ask something? Okay.
No.
I just wanted to say we're gonna fight afterwards, but no. Your new book.
Huh?
What can we read in it?
So it's there's 6 New England states: Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and like I said, I cover haunts, I cover funny and unique graves. It's actually a pretty funny book. Like there's a lot of stuff that you just sort of have to laugh because someone did a thing, and roadside oddities, eccentrics, a UFO story from all the 6 states. Because that interests me too. I mean, if you're going to go down the rabbit hole, don't go halfway. Just go all the way. Let's put it all on the table. Let's explore everything. And I don't know if it's available in Europe yet. I know it's available in the U.S. and Canada on Kindle and print wherever books are sold. I don't know if it's in the UK or otherwise yet, but it's a lot of it's based on stories I've covered in my podcast, which you can get anywhere. That's wherever you listen to podcasts, you can find New England Legends. And it's also, there's a photographer I've worked with for many years. We do a haunted calendar every year. So he takes these great photos and I write up the stories, and we've produced this calendar every single year. Our 2026 calendar just came out literally yesterday. And that's on sale now through my website. My whole job is, how do I take you into a story, right? So some stories are a TV show, some stories are a podcast, some are a book. So Frank's photos are so good. He takes these like amazing pictures. And so we've got his photography and my stories. And I feel like it's just more of a submersive experience to learn about these things. Cause I can tell you about a funny headstone, but you need to see it. It's one thing to say, well, it says this, and isn't that interesting? But it's another when you look at it for yourself and go, wow, it really does. There it is. I can see all the words.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That is very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's our job, right? So for me, I've always viewed myself as I report. I'm a chronicler. I'm the one that documents this stuff. I can't explain it. I've tried. I've given up. I can't explain it. I've got some theories and ideas, no better or worse than anyone else's. But what I can do is take a snapshot of where they are today, and say this is where the story is. This is what we know. This is what we know about the history and the backstory, and let's take it for what it is, and build on it from there.
Yeah. I've seen.
Really need to see if I can buy the book here in the Netherlands, because
I'm not sure
to see it
on Kindle. We can.
On Kindle, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I checked.
Okay, great.
I have to get Kindle then.
Yeah,
you have.
I have to check that out.
Yeah.
And the calendar is not available at this moment.
So the calendar's only we publish that ourselves, and it's only available through my website. Or I've got a story tour I do this fall where I'll be all kinds of places. I'm not in Europe, unfortunately, and the calendar we have shipped overseas, but it costs more to ship than the calendar costs.
Yeah,
I heard that.
It's so expensive to get something across the water there.
Yep.
And it pains me to be like, oh, the calendar's only $20. Getting it to you is another $40, and that's as cheap as it can go. I mean, we're not marking that up or anything. So we don't sell a lot to Europe. Plus it's got like America's Independence Day, and our friends in England get a little offended. They're just like, yeah, that's from you, the independent.
I like that joke.
I've got some British friends that sometimes they'll get the calendar while they're over here and they take it home and they'll send me pictures where they scratched off Independence Day, and I'm like, whatever. And they'll write like the day we dumped the colonies. I said, yeah, whatever.
That's funny though.
I can take it, Joe. They in Boston, we have a very famous historic event, the Boston Tea Party, where it was one of the big events of the American Revolution. A British ship came in and we threw all the tea into the harbor, right? Like that was a protest because they tried to tax our tea. And so it's always when I was over there, and I love tea. I actually do really enjoy tea. Yeah. And I was over there, and the joke I make every damn time to all my British friends, and they're so sick of it, is they'll hand me a cup of tea and I'll be like, you're not going to tax this, right? And it's just, oh God, it's no mercy.
That's why they do that to your calendar. Stop
Yeah,
doing that.
right. Like, we're gonna tax your tea and scratch you off Independence Day. Okay, doesn't change a thing.
Nope. You lost love.
Yeah, yeah,
I think you with the tea.
yeah, yeah. No, it's look. You got to laugh at this because sometimes it's pretty weird, and uh, there's been many a night where I know it's like a Saturday night. There's a group of us in the dark, midnight, all the lights off, talking to something we can't see, hoping it responds. And once in a while, I look around and you're like, what are your regular friends doing tonight? They're at a bar or something, right? They're
Yep.
having drinks or they're at the nightclub, and here we are at a cemetery or in this abandoned basement. You know, it's just looking at lights flashing and talking to the darkness. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. I just think sometimes you do have to laugh at it, though.
Oh yes. You can't stay serious all the time. It's not problem. Not possible.
Yeah.
Cherie says hi.
Hey,
How nice for you to drop in.
Definitely.
I just noticed
yes.
across the bottom it says parental discretion is advised, 18 plus. I think we've been very family friendly.
Yeah, tonight we've been.
Okay. I said one bad word in French. Doesn't even count.
No, it doesn't count.
Yeah.
No.
It's French. Yeah.
You can say everything in French. It sounds very French.
Yeah. It's not even offensive.
No.
No, it's different with German. Everything sounds
Angry.
offensive and
Yeah.
angry.
Sounds like
Yeah.
you're going to kill somebody.
Yeah.
Ich bin ein Berliner. Please don't hurt me. I just said I'm from Berlin. Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I was worried for a while.
You were a little scared, weren't you?
oh. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it's not just us, and we live next to them.
Yeah. Yeah. They could just come right across the border. And they tried.
Yeah, well, they still do, but they go on holiday.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You guys have the best drugs, to be fair. I mean, you just do.
We do.
What?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. I don't do it, so I had to think. Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
That one didn't work for me.
What
I
did
think I'm
you
too
say?
big or something. I don't know. Doesn't work.
Fair.
Yeah, it's your body. It's your body and your feet.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
he has big feet, very big feet. I get.
And we didn't talk about Bigfoot tonight.
Yeah,
No.
It's Shane.
yeah.
I'm almost as hairy as him as well. So
Oh, good. Do you so that's something I've never looked into in the Netherlands. Do you have any Bigfoot stories from the Netherlands?
No,
Not
just
really.
the history, the big hairy, yeah, beast-like things which ate women and children. But then you're talking about the 1600s, something
What-
like that.
What's the creature?
I have no clue.
Oh, okay.
if
I
I
do
am correct,
think
it's an ape-like. It's an ape-like creature.
Yeah.
Well, so your German friends have Krampus, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Krampus.
Belstickel and yeah. So yeah.
It's a creepy thing.
Yeah.
But we don't have that creepy stories here, do we? No.
You have Zwarte Piet.
Yeah, we do have the Witte Wieven, the White Witches.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we do have them. I don't think they're scary though.
Okay. What every culture, right? So, and sometimes it's a label, right?
Yeah.
In Massachusetts, here, the native people who were here for thousands of years before the colonists, they had a story of something called a Pukwudgie, and the Pukwudgies of eastern Massachusetts, near where I live, they are described as miniature humans, very small, that could turn themselves into ball of light, and they could guide you to safety or back to your village, but they could also kill you. It depended on their mood. There was no telling with the Pukwudgie. that description is so eerily similar to like the Irish will-o'-the-wisp. It's similar to Alaskan Inuits have a little people legend that's very similar. Africa has something similar. So how is it that these cultures all over the world that we're told had no contact with each other all made up the same story? That's really interesting to me. I mean, call it collective consciousness or call it maybe there's really something to it. And that's why I love these stories. Like you could say it's just a story, but then you talk to someone in the Netherlands and they say, oh, over here, we've got this. We just call it something else, obviously. But then the description is the same. And you go, huh, why is that? You know, why is that? And I think the whole world is a lot weirder than we'll probably ever know.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. But you in the States have almost everything. So there's nothing left for us.
So that's because we're a melting pot of cultures, right? We had people from every nation have come here over time, and they bring their stories, and they bring their weirdness, and they bring their beliefs, and some of them have blended and merged with what was already here. Some of them are unique, like down around New Orleans, right, which is very French influenced, but also Caribbean and also slave, like African from the slave trade. They've got something called a rogarou, which is it's or loup-garou, right? It's French. It's a werewolf, but it's the French name for the werewolf, and that came over with those cultures. And it's got this Cajun sort of influence to it that's unique to that swampy land that's all around New Orleans. We don't really have werewolves up here in New England. At least, I mean, I found one story, but you know, it's just a story. But over in the Great Lakes region of the U.S., they've got a dog man, which I mean, we call it a dog man. I'm like, that sounds a lot like a werewolf. If you know, I mean, an upright canine, you know, that's been spotted and cited all over and documented. And you go, well, that's, I mean, rogarou, loup-garou, or werewolf. And so I think we have all the stuff because we have all the cultures here.
Yeah.
There's a good possibility, yes.
Yeah, I want a cryptid as well.
You want a cryptid?
Yeah.
I'll give you one. I'll send one over.
Okay.
just open the box and let them loose. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, it will be fun.
No, I'll send you two so there can be more.
Oh, yes, do.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
I'm out of questions. Do you have another one?
I don't have any questions. No.
No,
Oh,
no, I was thinking, but no.
no.
You covered everything we wanted to ask.
Yeah,
Well, good.
absolutely.
So, yeah.
Well, do you ever get over this way? Do you ever get to the States?
I
hope
don't.
so.
I don't
Come
have
on
the
over.
guts to fly. Not that far.
It's a little trickier to visit these days during these troubling political times.
Oh, yes.
A lot less people are coming here than used to, which is too bad, because I think I love to travel. This is home. Where New England is home for me. It will be my home, but I will go anywhere. If someone's like, "Hey, yes, I will. I want to go and experience it, eat the local food, meet the local people, find out about the local mysteries and monsters and everything else." And I think that's how we grow, right? Like that's how we grow as people when we get exposed to that kind of stuff. And then we find out the differences are wonderful, but there's obviously a lot more similarities than differences. And then we're not such strangers to each other.
No, exactly.
Yeah. If I ever have the courage to fly 8 to 10 hours, I will visit.
So it's not even that, well, because I've flown from Boston to Amsterdam. It's not that bad. I could tell you what, no plane I've ever been on has ever crashed. I have literally a 100% perfect record.
Yeah. Otherwise, you would have been here.
Oh, that's true. Good point. But anyway, my record is perfect. No
Yeah.
crash.
Otherwise, I have to take side legs.
Yeah, it's a long boat ride.
Yeah. It has.
Boat ride.
If our listeners and viewers want to follow you, where can they find you?
I have no idea where I'm going, so don't follow me. It's a bad idea. I'm completely lost. Uh, so my website is my name, jeffbelanger.com, and I'm on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. And like I said, you can find my podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, New England Legends, and my books are, look online. And I'm very big in Estonia, I've heard, but I wouldn't know. They have a few of my books over there. I don't know. Yeah, I love this stuff, and I love communicating with people that are also asking questions and seeking answers. And so always
Yeah.
happy to exchange emails or messages with those folks.
Yeah, that's cool.
Absolutely lovely, lovely, lovely. I shared out the books, the calendar, and a few of things you posted. So if anyone is interested, go find Jeff or look in our groups, and you will find it.
Yes.
So I have a technical problem.
Why?
I will explain later. So you have to close down our podcast
I will.
and end stream, and I even can't start our countdown again.
I will.
Nothing works. So
I will.
okay, thank you.
I will start the countdown after we said our goodbyes, and then we're going to end the stream as soon as it's finished. And Jeff, if you want to hang on and
Sure.
hang on in the back so we can talk a little more.
Sounds
That's
good.
fine. If you have anything else to do, that's fine as well. But
No worries.
we were talking, so everybody, thank you all for watching, and Jeff, thank you for coming on. Thank you.
Thanks for having
talking
me. It was
to
great
us.
talking to you.
Yes,
Thank you.
definitely was. And guys, we will see you next week. And I have no idea who we have. Who do we have? Because my calendar is upstairs.
We have Dark Realm TV radio with
Oh, we do?
Jay Lynch.
Oh, nice.
Yes,
I
it
thought it was
is.
the week after.
And
I
we
really
have an
didn't.
extra next week. I agreed yesterday with Sam Beltrusses.
Yes,
So
we do.
you have to check every post we do out. So see you next
Yes,
week.
definitely. All right. See you next week, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.